Oh my god. Oh. Oh.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. I have some splaining to do. I did not vlog yesterday. I just didn't. I didn't shower. I didn't exercise. I didn't hardly get out of bed. I was the laziest of lazies yesterday, and it was kind of fabulous. But I got a lot of reading done, so let's talk about it. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. I started and finished The Sundown Motel yesterday. I enjoyed this. I don't think I like it as much as I like The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. Woo, that's a lot of book. But I did really like it. I think this one just has more of the like themes that I enjoy. I'm definitely seeing her formatting and her, maybe not formatting, template that she uses to write. This was very similar to The Book of Cold Cases in that regard, in that we have a dual timeline, we have the supernatural factor, we have a mystery, we're following women. This one felt a little bit more YA for me, I think, is probably a good way to say it. Carly, who is the main protagonist in this, or one of them, she just felt a little bit younger to me. This is set in this motel in upstate New York. We have Viv in 1982, works as the night clerk at the Sundown Motel. There's some weird things going on in the motel. There are some doors opening and closing on their own, and girls are going missing around this area, around this town. And Viv is interested in this, and then Viv herself disappears. Flash forward to 2017, Viv's niece, Carly, has left her home after some tragic circumstances and is now traveling to Pessl, New York to investigate the disappearance of her aunt. We're following them both as they're investigating these disappearances of women in the area, while Carly, of course, is focusing on the disappearance of her aunt. Also at the same time, there's some spooky things going on. Carly is making friends. She's interacting with some of the people who stay at this motel. And as they uncover more, there is more and more danger that's presenting itself. As she's seeing how her investigation of this is bringing her in danger, she's also starting to understand how that put her aunt in danger as well. And they both have the same kind of mindset where they're just not willing to let this go. They sink their claws into these mysteries and they just can't let it go. And so we start to get to know the people around the town, some of the police, some of the families who have been there for generation after generation, other things and mysteries surrounding that. I thought the ending was really good. I did like the ending and the twist, although I kind of saw it coming as we were getting in there, but overall, like, I just had a good solid time with this. It wasn't anything that I'm like going to scream and cry about or that just blew me away, but also like I was intrigued the entire time. I thought the writing was good. I thought the characters were good. I thought the story itself was good. So I would say this is like a solid 4 stars. And then I also read In the Tall Grass by Stephen King and Joe Hill yesterday, which is just the super, super quick novella. This one was recommended by Beth at Pessl Booked. I realized like almost immediately as I started reading this that I've seen the adaptation for this. It's really good, so I definitely recommend that. The audiobook itself was only, I don't know how many pages the novella is, but the audiobook was like a 2-hour audiobook, so just super, super quick. But a lot happens in there, and the tension is high, and it draws you in very quickly. The adaptation actually follows the story very, very closely, which is cool. I've never been a huge Stephen King fan, so I've read a couple books by Stephen King in the past. I've read It, I've read The Outsider. That might be it. I've never downright like refused to read any of his books, but I haven't especially sought them out either. So it's funny that I have 2 Stephen King books on this TBR. But this is my first like short story by Stephen King, and I don't know if having seen the adaptation helped me get into it or if that it was just so short, but it really worked for me. It was eerie. There was a lot of tension. It's basically about these people who are tourists in this town, and they're driving through when they hear a small boy's voice in these tall grass saying, "Help me find my mom." And then they hear the mom and they're calling for each other, and they're lost in this grass. So they go into the grass to try to help them. And then it's this eerie circumstance where no matter where they're at, They can never find each other again. And there's some kind of like culty things in here too. I don't know if it's culty or if it's just like supernatural or what, but it doesn't make sense. Once they get into this grass, weird things start happening and they cannot find each other. The overall tone of it is just very eerie, very high tension. I don't want to tell you too much about the actual story because it's so short, but I definitely would recommend this. I think I'm gonna give this one 5 stars. I really had fun with it and it was just so quick. So it's just a bit of an experience. I don't know how else to put it. I didn't find that the writing was tedious or lagged on like I often find Stephen King's writing to be. I don't know if that's because of the inclusion of Joe Hill on this. Maybe he was in there like, Dad, get to the point here, it's a novella. So I don't know. I just started The Institute, which is one that you guys picked for my favorite color. It doesn't feel rambly either yet. It's starting to get good, but anyway, that's typically my main issue with Stephen King is that he just goes on and on and on and on and on. And a lot of times his sentence structure is compound sentences where he'll start with one thought, he'll divert into another thought, come back to that thought. And that kind of writing style just is kind of old-fashioned, I feel like, and also like makes it hard for me to keep my attention. So that's what I typically don't like. I'm not finding that in either case yet. So that is promising. But I definitely think that In the Tall Grass is a really good short horror story. Absolutely recommend it. It was fun, it was quick, it was dark. So let's talk about The Institute a little bit. I don't know anything about this other than it's supposed to be like these supernatural kids are being taken by this company or something. And we're following the story. Initially, we're following this character, Tim, who is a night knocker or is applying to be a night knocker. He used to be a police officer and he was fired. And he's in a small town, I think South Carolina. And he's just looking for a change of pace, a break. And so he takes this position as a night knocker, which I still don't really understand what that is. From what I'm gathering, he's not a full cop, like he doesn't carry a gun or anything, but he's like kind of walking around at night, checking things out, keeping his eye out, like a town watch type deal. I don't really know. So we're following him. And I don't know how he is related to the story. So far, he doesn't seem to have any powers or anything like that. And then we just started following, I'm only like, I don't know, 5 or 10% in. And it's a really long book, but we just started following this family with this child prodigy. They seem like a low-income family, but they have gotten this scholarship for their son to go to this school. He's 12 years old and he's just brilliant, has an eidetic memory. The school is telling the parents that he is so far above and beyond us. Like, I don't think we have anything left that we can teach him. And the mom in her mind was like remembering how when he gets frustrated, things start to move in the house, cupboards shut, things like that. So I'm wondering if his genius is at the level of like telepathy, which would be interesting because that reminds me of Lucy, if you've seen that movie, amazing movie. The idea of if you use 100% of your brain, then you actually can move things with your mind. And is it telepathy or telekinesis? It might be telekinesis, but else, not telepathy. And he wants to go to college at 12 at 2 different colleges. And so they're trying to figure that out. And that's as far as I've gotten. So far, I'm interested, I'm intrigued. I really like reading about superheroes. There is a series that I've read that if you guys are interested in all, it's called Superpowers. It's really, really good YA and it's about these kids with powers too. And it's awesome, awesome series. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. What's happening today? I'm going to probably take a break from reading and do some homework. That's really all I have planned for today. So I will check back in with you guys a little later.
Denver, what are you doing? Stop that. Doing a different kind of reading here. Let's see what this article is called Closer Look at Racism in Women's Lives. Trying to get some homework done up at this biatch.
Okay, friends, I failed the second half of this readathon. I have not done much reading. I'm still working on the Institute. I'm about 50% in. Today is Monday, so the readathon's officially over. It's been over since midnight last night. So I'm gonna tell you what I know of the Institute so far, and then I'll try to finish it before the end of the month, which is in 4 days. You will have to pop into my wrap-up to see what I thought of it. So far, that whole first bit with the dude, with the night knocker guy, was completely irrelevant to the main part of the story, but I think it's coming back around. In fact, I know it is, because he wouldn't do that just randomly. I may not love Stephen King, but I have more respect for him than to think that he would just add something in for no reason. We got to the Institute. Luke, the kid who was going to college at 12 and all of that, the super genius kid, who's also telekinetic, was kidnapped by the Institute. And so we're following him for the majority of the story so far inside the Institute. And he's meeting friends, he's trying to figure out what's going on. They're doing all kinds of tests on these kids, giving them shots, seeing how they react. They're either telekinetic or telepathic. There's the front half, I think it's called the front half, where the kids are kept for varied amounts of time, and eventually they go to the back half and no one knows what happens to them after they go to the back half. They'll make friends and then their friends will disappear, etc. They know something sinister is happening, but we really don't know what the motivations of the people from the Institute are. We have some main employees that we're following, some which are really just terrible people, some are scientists, some are unsuspected allies, I guess you would say. You know, so far, it's fine. I wish there was more with the powers. I wish we were focusing more on the powers and like seeing what all the kids could do. There are little glimpses of that here and there, but overall, that's not the main focus. The main focus is the Institute and this like conspiracy of like why these kids are here, why they've been gathered, and so trying to like find information. Which is weird because you'd think that these kids that are telepathic would know. Like, how would they hide that information from them? So that's suspect. Overall, I think it's a fine story so far. I really like our main character, Luke. He's just a sweetheart, really brilliant sweetheart, but low on the like power end of things. He's not like one of the most powerful kids, but he's the smartest. And so I think that's what's gonna help him in this situation. That's pretty much all I can tell you at this point without spoiling anything. I don't know if I'm one for week-long readathons, to be honest. I don't know if I have the stamina. The weekend readathon, I think, is the best for me. I read part of Night Film, I read The Sundown Motel, I read The Turn of the Screw, I read In the Tall Grass, I read, 18 Tiny Deaths. Duh. That one was probably my favorite. I will say, now that I've had more time to sit and think and discuss about Turn of the Screw, that one's grown on me a lot. I think it's purposefully ambiguous, so if you don't like things like that, you probably won't like Turn of the Screw. But after discussing it with Katrina Brown, I think is her YouTube channel, I have more respect for it. The writing style itself is difficult. It's really difficult, but the story overall is actually really cool. So that's probably my second. I would go, as far as ranking these, my favorite would be 18 Tiny Deaths. Next would be The Turn of the Screw. Then Sundown Motel. Then In the Tall Grass. Lastly, Night Film. And I don't know about the Institute yet because I haven't finished it, but those last couple are hard because I really did like In the Tall Grass. I really enjoyed a lot of these books, so glad I read them, glad I participated. Next time I'll probably do a more slow kind of, not pressure myself so much. Don't forget that life is short, so read Riley. Cheers and goodbye.